Hey, what's up, traders? Mike here with the watch list video for, I can't believe I'm going to say this, April 1st. Monday, April 1st. So, market was closed on Friday. On Thursday, you see the SPY put in a narrow range, but it did hit new all-time highs. Again, the intraday ranges have been just goofy, sideways chop for the most part in the overall market lately. I want to tell everyone I really appreciate the teamwork. There's always somebody stepping up, pointing out a setup. I love that. Couple calls in CGC on Friday. Overall, not a very active day for me, but let me slide this over in case somebody's seeing the video for the first time. All right. Hopefully you paused the video and read that. These are stocks that we're going to be watching for intraday setups on Monday. All right. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because it's beautiful outside. AVTX had that big rip. Zoom in there. It's certainly worth watching. Look how far it closed off its highs, though, right? The high of the day was 34.46, and it closed all the way down to 21.75. You heard me pause there because I left a few minutes early and didn't realize it rolled over pretty hard at the end of the day. I actually thought it closed stronger. Anyway, it's still, anyway you slice it, a recent high flyer and deserves to be on the watch list for intraday setups on Monday. EH kind of had this cup and handle here and is trying to break out of that on Friday, or sorry, Thursday. So maybe a continuation day on Monday. We'll see if we get a setup. STOK kind of just falls into the recent high flyer category. It never did break its early high on Thursday, so I definitely want to keep that one on watch with the moves it's made. OTLK did have a nice move on Friday and certainly has some more upside room. SST, big move, big volume, and a fairly strong close. NX, I can't type this morning. NXL, huge move, but closing way off its highs. I'm a day trader. It goes on watch, right? LAC kind of have this little cup and handle forming. So that one goes on watch, stays on watch, I should say. GOEV did bounce off that 20 or that buy zone we look for, right, on the daily, and it's starting to curl back up, and it's a recent mover, so it goes on watch. CERO, big day on Thursday. Maybe we get a follow-through day on Monday. EVLV did have a nice sounding headline and a pretty strong day. Probably one of my favorites. I can't put a reason why other than it had a nice sounding headline and it was moving pretty well on Thursday, right? And so one of my favorites going into Monday, DNUT. Couple days lower after that big rip on throwing donuts in McDonald's nationwide. I certainly think that's a good candidate for a turn back up on Monday. DJT has only been trading under the DJT symbol for a few days, but all 3 days, closed well above its open. Just going to treat it like a bounce play. My favorite setup. By the way, I did take a trade in that one, made a few bucks on Thursday. But what I'd love to see is a fairly narrow range, like for most of the day, and then a break out to the upside on an intraday basis in the afternoon. That would be the most powerful setup for me, where I think shorts would be forced to cover into the close. And may never happen. So that's why we call this a watch list, right? LIXT had the gap up on Wednesday, put in a red day, also a red day on Thursday. I'm treating that as a bounce play. Did have a nice sounding headline. So, and then VERI has just been what I call stupid strong. And now you got a couple red days in a row. I'd like to see it get down between these moving averages, and then I would really like it. But I am going to start watching it for a bounce play setup on Monday. Enjoy your Easter, and I will see everybody on Monday.